Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of the Daniel Salla Show. This show is brought to you by Yamari Podcast, which is a wrestling podcast I actually host with my buddy Yamari Shoemaker. He's got a really good following right now, and definitely if you guys are into wrestling or anything like that, go over there and subscribe to his channel. Hopefully this will get some more ears listening to his show, and he's a really smart guy. He knows his wrestling, so he's really educated on that stuff. So if you're into wrestling, go over there, subscribe to his channel, check it out. I also co-host. So yeah. Anyways, guys, this show today will be kind of different because usually when I do a show, it's usually I give my opinion on various things going on in pop culture and just whatever's going on in the world. I voice my opinion, I talk about it, and give you my thoughts. But I was thinking because this week, I brought my social media pages back up, and I actually got a lot more followers than I intended. Like I actually thought I would. I brought the Facebook page back up, and I created the YouTube channel. I brought that back, and I think I got over like 20 people subscribed and liked the Facebook page. So I appreciate all you guys' support. I want to thank everyone who took the time to share my page and kind of get the word out there. So yeah, the show will be kind of different because, like I said, I usually give my opinion on pop culture, but I figured today I would kind of give background on myself a little bit and kind of talk about an issue that isn't really talked about in today's world as much as it should be, I think, which is the topic of depression. Um, as you know, it's really, I mean, a lot of people have depression, and not everyone who has it comes out and talks about it. It's kind of like, depression doesn't show any physical symptoms. It doesn't. You don't get a cough. You don't. You don't get a fever or anything like that. So it's like when you tell someone you have the symptoms of depression, like feeling sad or feeling, a little down in the dumps, it's like they don't. It's not anything physical, so they can only take you for your word. And sometimes when you tell people that you're dealing with it, some of them don't take you seriously, and which is a shame. Depression does have a stigma, and it is a shame. And I'm kind of here to kind of talk to you guys about my experiences with it, and hopefully it'll shed some light on the issue and get some ears listening on what depression can really be and what it actually shows up as. So going back, I guess the first time I remember feeling something close to depression would probably be third or fourth grade. I was a really young kid, probably around, I want to say 8 or 9, and family problems had come up, and it just, when you're that young a kid, you don't really know what's going on, and it's like, I just remember feeling like I didn't know who to go to or talk to, and when you're a young kid like that, they just, people, when they see that you're feeling that way, I mean, they are concerned, but, they're like, well, he's just a kid, he doesn't, it's nothing that there's nothing we can do, right? I mean, he doesn't know any better, which is completely wrong, and I was lucky around that time because I did have a friend to talk to, but, we weren't that close yet, and I never felt like I could talk to him about it. For one, these family problems, I mean, they weren't anything serious. It was just like, just stupid kid stuff, like, fights with my brother, stuff like that. And it's like, those times were the times I remember first having it. I just remember feeling just frustrated more than anything, like, just frustrated with what was going on in my life and not really knowing what to do about it, medicine or therapy was the furthest thing from my mind. I just wanted to get through school. I wanted to, you know, be as normal as I could be, and I didn't let it bother me. I always got good grades, and but yeah, that was probably the first time I remember feeling it. Then there was fifth grade was probably the time I remember really, really it coming into my life. I just remember being like a very frustrated kid, and you know, I would always get into fights, and like I didn't know why, and I still don't. I don't know if it was stuff going on at home or if it was just how I was wired back then. But I was just a very very angry kid, and looking back on it, it's kind of sad, but because I really had no reason to be angry, but I guess it's just how your brain is wired when you have any form of depression. It's like when you're that young too, it's like you don't know how to fully express yourself. So my depression was coming out as anger, and for everyone who I was mean to back then, I apologize. I've changed a lot, and which I will get into, but it's an unfortunate thing, and it is unfortunate too because it continued through middle school, sixth and seventh grade. I was kind of just still mad, and I had no reason to be, like um, the family life was still kind of iffy. I just wasn't getting along with my parents, and it just manifested just of me being mad at everything. And I remember this kid, I won't say his name out of respect, but I would get into fights with this kid, and every day in middle school, and like, he said some pretty nasty stuff to me and about my family, but still, I mean, for me to be getting into fights with him every single day in school is just uncalled for on my part, no matter what. Yeah, so I'm not condoning any violence of any sort, but me and this kid would get into a fight. Like I would literally seek him out, and it was just a very shitty thing to do on my part, and I felt bad, and I tried to apologize to him recently, but he wasn't ready to accept the apology, which I understand. But yeah, my whole altercations with this kid, it landed me in some trouble in school. I would get, in school suspensions. I got a few out of school suspensions over it. It's just something that I regret. It's not who I am anymore. I just feel like it's important to kind of talk about these things, on this side of me, just because, like, it shows, like, it gets rough, like, because, especially back then, I had no idea what was going on in my mind. Like, I was just so mad and angry with everything. It's like I was just trying to, like, do something that would ease what I was feeling, and it's just get educated on the issue as soon as you can when you get these symptoms, man, because it's like I wish I would have kind of got on medication back then. I know that's young, but maybe it would have subsided the anger and the frustration I felt. I don't know, but you know, um, then I got into high school, and it kind of stopped for a while. I was focusing on my grades, and it was all good. And then of course with high school, relationships start coming into the picture, and I was lucky or unlucky enough, however you want to look at it, to have a one girlfriend throughout all my high school years, pretty much. And it was good at first. I was feeling okay. There were still some signs of depression. I still have my down days, but it was good. But eventually the relationship soured, and as kids will do, we both did some pretty shady things to each other, and the relationship turned, just nasty. It was very dysfunctional. I mean, very, very dysfunctional. Um, and that just kind of triggered my depression too. It was just like, here I was in this relationship that I thought, this was like my safe place, right? Because like I was still feeling kind of disassociated from family and a lot of the kids at school. I still had that my buddy that I met in third grade. I still had my group of friends and we talked, but it was never we never were close enough to have like talks about how we were actually feeling. Like we probably could have, and I know we could have, but it just never came up. So here I was in this relationship where I thought, this person is my person, and uh, she'll always have my back, and you know, I'll never feel down when I'm with her, pretty much. And like I said, the relationship soured, and it was the complete opposite by the end of it. I I didn't even really recognize myself by the end of it. I felt so bad and so mad at the world, mad at her, mad at myself more than anything. I just started feeling I was very down on myself, and I'm not here to talk bad about her, but I mm, wasn't feeling good with her anymore, and finally got out of that relationship by the end of high school. I was just about to graduate, actually, senior year, and there were just times in that relationship where there were things that I don't want to go back to, and I would never want to feel like that again. And it's a part of growing up, though. I think we all have that relationship or relationships where we just we have to go through the low points, the shitty times to get to the good times, and I'll get to that here soon. But I am glad I had the experience. It's kind of molded me to who I am and where I am today, and so I got through high school. My grandpa actually did pass when I was a sophomore in high school, and that was a very big hit to my whole viewpoint, my whole life, pretty much, because me and my grandpa were so close from the time I was born, really. I mean, I just remember always being able to go over to his house when I felt down or when I felt like I needed to get away from my actual house, because like I said, I didn't get along with my parents, so uh, I'd always be able to go over to his house. I knew that was a safe place. I knew it was a safe haven, and he was so good. Like, he was such a good person, and I miss him every day. And he'd passed away from cancer in 2011, and that was all a big blow on our family. And that was it. I was still in that relationship that I was talking about. I was still in that while that was all going on, and I'm sure that played a key part in that whole thing deteriorating. But yeah, it took me a long time to even be able to talk about him, my grandpa. It was because with any loved one, I mean, you associate things with them. I remember hearing different songs and seeing different things, and it would always make me think of him, and I get like super sad, like very, very depressed. And um it just finally it hit me one day. It was just like a switch flipped, and I can now think of him and laugh and smile and be thankful for all the good times, which I'm very thankful for. Because we were so close, and it's just nice to be able to talk about him and remind the world of who he was, because he was a very, very good man. But so yeah, I got out of high school, started working at a retail store, Ace Hardware, and it was a job. It was a good job. It was a I don't know about a good job. It's just it's a retail job, but it was a good job to have out of high school. It taught me, I've always been a hard worker, but it taught me more of those values of being a hard worker. And but that job too, as with a lot of jobs, it's like the work isn't bad, the job isn't bad, but sometimes you run into people who just make the job bad. And unfortunately, there was a few managers there who were just they weren't very good, to be honest. They made the experience very, very bad for everyone around. And I was there for about 2.5 years, and no exaggeration, I want to say 10 or more people left from the time I started to when I left. And I know that for a fact. Like, I know it was at least 10 people, or maybe even more. And I just remember, like, I didn't think there'd ever be a way out, as silly as that sounds. Because, like, I've always kind of lived in this small town, and it's like, by the time I was getting ready to leave, I just felt, on top of the bad managers, and just feeling like I wasn't gonna make it out of Ace Hardware. I just was feeling so down, and I wasn't the only one feeling down there. I mean, there was a whole group of friends there who worked with me, and they felt the same. Uh, I remember talking to a couple buddies of mine every day, and we're like, "Man, we gotta get out of here. Like, we can't, we can't work the rest of our lives here, right?" And so yeah, finally, 2.5 years into it, probably around 2016, end of 2016, I left Ace Hardware, and I instantly felt like a weight was lifted off my chest. It felt good because honestly, like, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't even the work that was dragging me down. It was just the feeling of just crappy management, and just feeling in my gut and heart that I could be doing something else, something better. And um, I realized I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to college, and I honestly, like, I wasn't committed on a certain thing, but I wanted to go, and I felt like I could be a psychologist or maybe even a psychiatrist, right? So I found the U of I in Springfield had a psychology program, so I, applied for that, got in, and I don't know, like, I'm not making excuses for myself. I just wasn't ready for it, I don't think. Like, I did about a semester there, and I just realized, the psychology stuff, like, it wasn't for me. Like, I enjoy learning about it, but it just wasn't for me. And I guess this is another part of, like, where, because I'm a huge perfectionist. Like, when I'm doing something, I have to be really good at it, and it's a gift and a curse. A gift because I can do, to being a perfectionist, you're able to do good work, but the downside of it is you have to do good work. So when you don't, it makes you feel bad. And my grades were slipping there, and it was really hitting me hard. And I just was feeling so bad. I was feeling like, man, I'm not going to be able to do this. There's no way I'm going to. I'm not enjoying it, right? And when you're not enjoying something you're doing, just, you know, life is too short to be doing stuff you don't enjoy. And that's kind of like, looking back on everything, like, that's what I wish, when I was at Ace, I wish I would have left earlier, and I wish I would have known what I was wanting to do with, school, but I didn't. And that's okay. Like, that's something I want to stress with this, is like, if you're out there and you're listening and you don't know what you want to do with your life, and you're scared that you aren't gonna make it out of wherever you're at, don't worry. Like, it's okay. It's okay to feel those things, because I felt them. And it's I left Springfield, kind of went into a little bit of a depression, didn't really do much. I was working here and there, but it wasn't anything big. Again, it was like, man, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, what's next? And I was watching an interview, a Howard Stern interview actually, and I was thinking to myself, because I've done podcasts like these before, and now, and it's like I was like, man, if I could do that, what he's doing right now, and get paid for it, like that's perfect for me, you know. But like I didn't know at the time, like I never knew that's what I wanted, but it just hit one night, it clicked, and so I was like, yeah, radio, that would be awesome, that'd be great, you know. So I was looking around for programs, you know, different colleges that offered them, and Lincoln College in Lincoln, Illinois, offered a radio, television, new media program, and I started there last fall, and I haven't looked back, man. Like ever since I started there, you know, uh, it's given me a whole new lease on life. Really, like this learning that I could be in radio and that I have the talent to be in radio has literally changed my life. Like I'm there and I'm working a regular shift. I have the morning show. I have ideas that I want to do. Like it's given me a whole new purpose, you know. And it's like if you would have told me a few years ago that this is where I'd be, I would have laughed at you because like. You know, being an ace, it's like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea I could be good at radio, and that's what I'm telling you guys. Is what I was saying before. If you feel like you're somewhere where you can't get out, and there's no way you can manage to get out of where you're at, it's possible because I did it. You know, like it's crazy to think that I did, but like when you're in that situation, I get it. Because like that's the thing about depression too, is like when you're in that place where you know your mind is beating you down, and it's like you feel like it's going to beat you into submission, but you cannot listen to it because tomorrow is a better day. You know, it gets better. It really, really does. Because I can tell you with full honesty, in my heart and soul, like there are days where I still feel bad. Don't get me wrong. Like there are days where I feel it, but the good outweighs the bad so much. I mean, Lincoln College and the people I have in my life right now, I am in the best place that I've ever been in my life, and it feels so good. Um, like I said, at Lincoln College, I'm working so much in radio. I'm doing so much with TV, and I've gotten to work camera. You know, I've worked some production, and it's such a fun experience. I love doing that, and that's the thing. Like depression, well, like I said before, it's not. There's no physical symptoms, and to the outside world, you know, to anyone like who didn't really know me, you know, it would have appeared before like there's nothing wrong with me because it's easy to wear a mask. It's easy to show people that, you know, oh, I'm okay. But we have to realize as a people, it's okay not to be okay. You know, it's okay to feel sad. You know, you have to work these feelings out because if you don't, they'll just eat at you, and it's just not worth it. I waited so long to get anything done about how I felt because I was one of those people who felt, you know, medication. I don't need medication. I don't need to see a therapist. It's, you know, medication is gonna mess with my head. It's gonna like alter my actual thoughts. You know, I want to be in control of myself. Like those were my reasonings for not wanting to be on medication. But it was honestly the during that time where I was in between schools, I was just feeling so bad, and I, you know, I've honestly, there's been times where, you know, you have those dark thoughts, but I knew I would never have done anything, but the thoughts were getting bad enough to where I knew I needed to go see somebody about it. So I made an appointment with my doctor, took the tests and everything, and got put on medication. And I will tell you, the medication has really helped. I've been on it now for probably about a year or two, year and a half, year and a half, and it's really, really helped. I mean, it's like, it's not like, because I take it, and it's not like it's mask, it's not like it's trying to, like, it's not making me somebody different. It's just a band-aid pretty much. It's enough to where I can, get through the day and be productive, which I was productive before. I've always been productive no matter what. That's one thing, like, I pride myself on is having a very strong work ethic with everything I do, but it's the medication has really helped. So if you're out there too and you just feel like, medication isn't for you, and it's not for everybody, but if you don't want to be on medication, at least go out and talk to a therapist. Do something, or just talk to anybody, because if you just sit on what you're feeling and don't reach out to anybody, it will eat you. And, I know from experience, I've been to that edge, and it's not a good place. It's not fun. And I just want to use this podcast as a method to kind of reach out to everybody out there. If you or anybody is like feeling bad or anything, just the suicide prevention hotlines out there, reach out to your friends, reach out to me. I'll talk to anybody, like I've been there, and it gets better, like I told you guys before, if you would have told me that I would have felt this way, like I felt this good, like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Like I would have been like, there's no way, I'm stuck where I'm at. There's no way I'm getting out, and that's it. But here I am. I'm gonna be a sophomore next year. I'm getting a 4.0 GPA, which I'm not bragging, but like it just shows, like, if you like what you do and you work hard, like anything's possible, really. I mean, because I love what I do. I'm loving radio. I'm loving TV. It's just, I'm in such a great place, and I just wanted to take this time to kind of give you guys a little background of myself and why I'm doing radio, why I'm doing this podcast, who I am. And I hope you guys learned something. I hope you have, hope if anyone has listened and realized, hey, I need some help, like that would be awesome. Like if I was able to help any of you, that would be so great. But if you're still out there and you still don't know what to do, just know it gets better. It really, really does. And you're never alone. Ever. Like there's always somebody out there who's feeling what you're feeling, who can help. And just never feel like you're by yourself, because you never are. And yeah, so if you guys ever need anything, never hesitate to let me know, let anyone else know. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will be uploading another episode of the Daniel Salla Show Friday, which will be it'll be a normal episode. And yeah, I'm enjoying this. I really am. Like I said at the beginning, thank you to everyone who has shared the social media, who's liked the social media and subscribed to the YouTube channel. It means so much to me, and I have very big plans for this YouTube channel. And yeah, so have a great week, guys. I'll talk to you guys on Friday.